Hello, I am Professor R Prasad. I am associated with the NIRDPR as a consultant. I am going to talk to you today on a very important subject, that is empowerment of persons with disability who are also popularly known as DIVYANGJAN, and the role of the Panchayati Raj institutions, especially in the context of how to empower persons with disabilities. In order to first understand this subject, one has to understand what is the place and protection given to the people with disability in the Constitution. We know our Constitution of India ensures equality, freedom, justice and dignity to all the individuals and implicitly mandates an inclusive society for all, including the persons with disabilities. Persons with disability, in short they are also known as PWD, also known as DIVYANGJAN in Hindi, are the most vulnerable and marginalized section of society, cutting across caste, creed and community. They belong to a heterogeneous group composed of those born with a disability due to nutritional deficiencies or disease, or those who become disabled as a result of accidents. Most of the persons with disabilities have been facing several barriers that limit their participation in mainstream societal activities, thereby leading more or less secluded life. According to Census 2011, there are 2.68 crores persons with disabilities in India, who constitute 2.21% of the total population. Out of the total population of persons with disabilities, about 1.50 crore are male and 1.18 crore female. These include persons with visual, hearing, speech and locomotor disabilities, mental illness, mental retardation, multiple disabilities and other disabilities. Persons with disabilities are one of society's most marginalized groups. This marginalization takes form across professional, educational, cultural and social factors, to name a few. The cause of this marginalization boils down to one common thread: barriers. Barriers to participation, opportunity and success exclude persons with disabilities across all sectors of society by limiting their ability to benefit from and participate in development on local, regional, national and global scales. A critical key to disability inclusive development is breaking down barriers in order to promote accessibility to the built environment, transportation, information, communication, technology and services. Let us now try to understand the causes of disability. To address the systemic marginalization of persons with disabilities and to promote accessibility as a core pillar of disability inclusive development, it is important to first understand the concept of disability. Put simply, disability is the interaction of two concepts: impairment and barriers in the surrounding environment. Impairment refers to variance from the norm or loss with regard to the physical and or cognitive functioning of an individual. When the surrounding environment does not meet the needs of the individual due to impaired physical and or cognitive functioning, a barrier is formed that limits the capacity of the individual. Environmental barriers and attitudinal barriers are two broad categorizations for aspects of society that cause the exclusion of persons with disabilities. Environmental barriers refer to the challenges faced by persons with impairments in both physical and virtual surroundings. Such barriers pose a challenge on the personal level to complete a certain task, be it mobility, comprehension or interaction based. Attitudinal barriers function in a similar manner in that they pose challenges to persons with impairments, though with increased emphasis on the social dimension. These barriers are spread through the negative perceptions and predispositions concerning what can and cannot be achieved by persons with impairments. Now, one should try to understand, is there any policy which would be helpful in tackling the issues related to disabilities? Here I would like to tell you that Government of India has developed a national policy for persons with disabilities 2006. The persons with disabilities constitute a valuable human resource for the country. A majority of such persons can lead a better quality of life if they have equal opportunities and effective access to rehabilitation measures. The government, with a view to create an environment that provides such persons equal opportunities for protection of their rights and full participation in society, formulated and brought the national policy for persons with disabilities in the year 2006. With focus on prevention of disabilities and rehabilitation of measures, the policy provides for the following: first, prevention of disabilities, and second, rehabilitation measures. If we talk more on the rehabilitation measures, it will be physical rehabilitation measures which include early detection and intervention, counseling and medical rehabilitation, assistive devices, development of rehabilitation professionals. Then in the second category we have education of persons with disabilities. Then we have a third point in the second strategy, that is about economic rehabilitation of persons with disabilities, which include employment in government establishment, wage employment in private sector, and self-employment. Then in the third category we have provisions for women with disabilities. Then fourth we have provisions for children with disabilities, and fifth we have to create barrier-free environment. Altogether we have got 12 such measures. Then I will come to the sixth one, that includes issue of disability certificates. Then seventh is social security. Eighth is promotion of non-governmental organizations who work for the people with disabilities. Then ninth we have collection of regular information on persons with disabilities. 10th is research. 11th we have got sports, recreation and cultural life. And 12th, amendments to existing acts dealing with the persons with disabilities. Accordingly, the principal areas of intervention under the policy are prevention, early detection and intervention, programs of rehabilitation, human resource development, education of persons with disabilities, employment, barrier-free environment, social protection, research, sports, recreation and cultural activities. What are the different schemes for the person with disabilities? The Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, is operating various schemes for empowerment and rehabilitation of persons with disabilities. The schemes aim to promote physical, psychological, social, educational and economic rehabilitation and development of persons with disabilities to enhance their quality of life and also enable them to lead a life with dignity. The major schemes for rehabilitation of persons with disabilities are a scheme of assistance to disabled persons for purchase, fitting of aids and appliances, that is known as ADIP. Second is a scheme for implementation of Persons with Disabilities Act, that is known as SIPDA. And third is the Deen Dayal Disabled Rehabilitation Scheme, that is known as DDRS. Now we should understand what roles the Panchayati Raj institutions can play in empowerment of the persons with disabilities. They include involvement in the preparation of various schemes relating to the education and rehabilitation of persons with disabilities. With the help of block level panchayats, they should identify delivery systems for the education and rehabilitation of persons with disabilities under various programs. They can ensure convergence of the various programs which are meant to benefit the person with disability. evolve strategies for mobilizing the community for various activities such as surveys, helping the field level functionaries, funds raising, monitoring of the programs at the field level, etc. Identify special areas of assistance for different categories of the disabled as per their needs. Ensure that requisite percentages of funds are allocated to various key programs such as those catering to the prevention of disabilities and education needs of the disabled. Then they can also arrange training of the public functionaries, NGOs and other social workers in handling of the problems concerning disabled persons in cooperation with various specialized centers. They can also launch the program of early detection of disabilities in which the village and block level panchayats along with Gram Sabhas are made to play an active role. The PRIs can also organize various activities so as to encourage the disabled persons participate in various educational and rehabilitation programs. Additionally, the Panchayati Raj institution can ensure that all the persons with disabilities and their parents are aware of the various benefits and their legal rights. This can be achieved through provision of information in the form of pamphlets and booklets. Another important role which the PRIs can play is about development of good linkages between various agencies, departments such as health department, hospitals, education department, diets, voluntary organization working in the field of disability. Then one more important role is to ensure that the posts of various specialized personnel who are required for comprehensive care of the disabled are filled up immediately. These include specialists such as clinical psychologists, special educators and rehabilitation therapists. We can also suggest that the Panchayati Raj institution can also arrange aids and appliances under the available programs and ensure that they are made available to the persons identified by them in a timely fashion. Village panchayats should be entrusted with monitoring of usage through Gram Sabha these appliances, and whenever necessary they should arrange for the trained personnel to demonstrate correct application. With the help of block level panchayat, village panchayat should arrange, locate craftsmen who can be trained to repair such appliances where required for their fitment. Oversee the functioning of services, rehabilitation centers and vocational rehabilitation centers for the disabled and promote linkages with their outreach activities. Identify bottlenecks in implementation process and take corrective measures. Identify NGOs who demonstrate empathy and have a good track record and are interested in taking up work for the disabled persons. Then the PRIs can arrange with the help of trained professionals preparation of rehabilitation packages and economic development schemes for the benefit of disabled persons. With the help of block level panchayats, closely monitor the implementation as well as the impact of such schemes. Then the PRIs can develop a mechanism for monitoring of the functioning of different NGOs working in an area and promote their accountability to the community. Organizing small groups of disabled persons for viable income generating activities with the help of block level panchayats. Then they can promote required coordination and convergence for setting up of such activities. They should monitor the implementation and impact of these programs and where necessary to introduce corrective measures. Block level panchayats can also be involved in the process. And the last but not the least, the role which the panchayats can play at the block level in conjunction with the village level panchayats is that they should take up the cases of discrimination against the disabled before they are referred to a competent authority under Person with Disability Act. For more information on the subject, you can feel free to write to me on my email address, that is rrprasad21@gmail.com. So thank you very much.